In this lesson, we're going to finish up talking about the settings menu with media, permalinks, and sharing settings. Let's go to the settings menu and go to media. There are some simple settings that apply to defaults regarding media display. At the top, we can change the default sizes of various image size presets. When inserting an image into a post or page, you have the option of choosing the size at which it will be displayed. These choices are thumbnail, medium, large, and full size. Obviously, there are no settings for full size here because that simply shows the image at whatever resolution the image actually is. However, we may have very large images that won't display properly on our page or take too long to load. In addition to setting the size, you can also choose to crop the thumbnail size to the specified dimensions. Thumbnails for large images don't work well if they're simply scaled down. They look garbled and often unrecognizable. It's a good idea to set the large size width to the width of your content container. Otherwise, anytime you choose to use large on an image larger than the width of your content container, it's going to disrupt your sidebars and generally look unprofessional and just bad. Below the size settings, we can organize our uploads into month and year-based folders. This just makes the files in the file system easier to navigate should you ever need to do it. It makes things nice and tidy, so I see little reason to turn this off. But you do have the option. You will not see this next option unless you have turned on the image gallery carousel in Jetpack, but it allows you to change the background color, display image metadata, and default all galleries to tiled galleries, which you'd also need turned on to see this particular option. Now let's move down to the permalinks options. Permalinks are the link URLs that WordPress generates for your posts, pages, archives, and everything else. Most people change this to post name or custom structure for the sake of search engine optimization. If you're running a news site, maybe the date structure would be useful to you. But for most people, the content itself and the subject of the content is the most important thing. Let's use a custom structure of category / post name. This will list our category and post name in the URL of our posts. Search engines will like this data. You can also add a base URL for category and tag URLs. Say we wanted all your categories prefixed with gardening /. So we could put gardening / here. And our tomato category URL, for example, would be oursite.com/gardening/tomato. This is yet another SEO technique that some use, but many consider cluttered and unnecessary. Finally, let's briefly look at our sharing settings. These are the settings we saw earlier in our Jetpack videos, where you can set up your social media networking accounts, sharing buttons, and sharing display settings. I recommend that you become intimately familiar with the settings menu, as using the options within effectively can make your site more visible to search engines and generally more pleasant for everyone to use. No one likes ugly URLs with question marks and equal signs, you know? Also, be aware that plugins can add items to this menu and often do. So check here if you have anything you want to change about a plugin. In our next chapter, we're going to look at syndication and getting your blog published in aggregators that will facilitate finding new readers.